What's going on, folks? We are back for another week. Who knew we'd still be going? It's the Retro Gamers.
I didn't.
We're back. Hey, you're jumping ahead of it. What are you doing? That's not the opening we do. Welcome to the Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
Yeah, that's it. It's all the show format is gone. That's it. It's out the window.
That is what I like to do. I like to cause chaos. And speaking of chaos, we have with us once again. Yes, we have with us once again the illustrious, the fabled, the not so famous Captain Nostalgia, Josh. Hello, sir.
Man, I am like David Hasselhoff. All of Germany knows my name.
That is
Oh
awesome.
my God, do you have a music video?
I do, but I'm not very proud of it because there's a lot of neon, a lot of sparkles, and a guy in a unicorn.
Jump in my car. I'm gonna take you home. You have it now?
All right, and thank you for joining us for the Retro Gamers. I told Larry that we would never continue an episode after he sings.
That is a classic David Hasselhoff song.
I'd rather hear Kit sing.
Kit's kind of in it.
God.
Okay,
like-
let's move past this.
Anyway,
past
yeah,
it.
can we
Move
move
past
on
it? Peace.
moving
Move past
on.
it.
Being
Move
destroyed
past it.
on one half of my own show. This week, Josh is back. Yes, I know you're saying to yourself, but Josh was just on a couple weeks ago. Usually space out your guests. And we had Anthony Chu on last week, who everyone...
Great episode.
I'm going to have to say it, and Ant, I'm going to have to concede to it. Anthony Chu, on last week's episode, is actually making waves. And good waves.
I was just going to say, what kind of waves are we talking about? Are we talking like ocean waves or blubber waves?
His head is going to explode when I say this. People have been commenting positively on his episode. People are saying how fun the episode was. And people are saying now how Double Dragon may very well be a fighter.
Oh, boy.
And another possible crossover.
Yes, and we may, Yin and Yang may go with the PS Midnight Cast.
Oh, okay. I knew I saw signs of the apocalypse this week. I saw them outside. It just, we're doomed.
Yeah, well, tune into the next episode of the Yin and the Yang podcast when this is all he's going to talk about.
Oh, God. I'm building a bomb shelter this week.
But we got Josh back this week because we're doing this is a crossover and kind of a mega crossover. One of the few where we're actually kind of continuing episodes. Josh, tell me, are we the first episode or the second episode of the crossover?
We're the first.
Oh, okay. I asked Josh.
Well, I gave you the answer.
We'll do you guys first, huh?
Okay.
It's in whatever way you listen to it, because like you need my previous entry into the Retro Gamers catalog to understand our half of the crossover, because that's where we drop the shopping rules.
That is true. So tune in to Victims and Villains, where Josh does discuss the official rules, and they will be posted on the Victims and Villains site and then on their Instagram, and then we will promptly steal it for the Retro Gamers Instagram page. And it's going to be the rules for the epic contest that me and Anthony are having that Josh started, where the winner gets a Virtual Boy. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, we all know how that's going to wind up. And I've got a nice space already set aside for the Virtual Boy. In my backyard, there's a little bit of a pit that it's going to go in.
Then fire.
And then
fire.
First sledgehammer, then fire.
I'm flying out for that one.
And then I thought afterwards we can all have s'mores.
I am definitely flying out for that one.
These taste a little. They taste a little plasticky.
Yeah, exactly. That is the sweet plastic of victory, my friend.
I'm gonna also say that he's probably already won this contest.
Yeah,
I think I can claim victory now, 3 months into the year.
I will agree, but
almost. Well, it'll be 4 months by the time this episode drops.
This is true. Either way,
whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I win.
Either way, is a win. But we're going real retro this week. We're gonna deviate a little bit from the norm, but we're gonna stay on track because on Victims and Villains, the three of us actually talked. Well, the two of us, Anthony and Josh, talked about the new movie Tomb Raider. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see it. Yes,
it's like 2.5.
That's true. I chime in every now and again.
You did contribute randomly to the conversation.
That's pretty much every holiday at my house. So, So
I can attest to that.
So we talk about Tomb Raider, the new movie, but there was another huge blockbuster. I don't know if it's officially. No, it's the first weekend, so we haven't gotten the official numbers yet. I think it's going to be a blockbuster the way it's going. We're going to talk this week, and there is a lot to mention. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just talking about just visually as well. Ready Player One. And I have to say, first and foremost, now, Josh, Anthony, you're both avid readers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's reading?
It's fundamental. That is a crossover joke. And what you guys have...
Pointing it out no longer makes it a joke. You killed the joke. Thank you, Larry.
No, that's what I do. I like when I do that.
And you do it well.
You guys have read books. This is going to sound silly, but in my world, it was kind of a big thing. You guys have read books and then saw those books become a movie adaptation, correct?
Yes.
Wait. Have you never done that?
Wait, let me. Don't. You're putting the cart before the horse.
Well, that's what I do because I'm ahead of you.
Good. So you do that. I ruin jokes. Josh is going to sit there and just be like, what is going on at the dinner table?
Virtual VB sucks.
Hashtag VB sucks.
So you guys have read books and then seen them become novels. Movies.
We've seen them become movies.
Yes. It probably the most recent one. Before we start talking. And like, what are some of the other ones that you've read that you saw become a movie and you were like, this is pretty, this is good.
Oh, good.
Well, all right, you know what? Let me back that up.
Divergent, or not Divergent. Okay. Watchmen.
Okay.
Watchmen. I'm gonna go with Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
Going way back.
You read that first and then saw the movie?
Yeah.
Good Lord, how young were you when you read that book?
Young enough to enjoy it.
That movie came out in like 1990s, like early
1994.
94.
Yeah, I was like a teenager, Larry. I was reading books.
You were 16. All right.
I read when I was like 10.
That's a whole different story.
Come on, Larry. Catch up.
So here's what I'm getting at, and in all honesty, Ready Player One is the first time I read the book, and then watched that book become adapted to film.
Wow.
I'm not a big reader. I'm the first to admit. The only books I've really read were most of the WWE biographies and a bunch of, like Spider-Man, Batman novels, not graphic novels, actual books. And they were all good. But this is the first time I was actually able to take the book and watch the movie and see how it's all done. And I got to say, first of all, the book, phenomenal. The movie, and we're going to talk about it, was fantastic. Josh.
I think that we posted our review up yesterday on YouTube, and I really enjoyed this film. I was not this and Pacific Rim both. I really wasn't anticipating on liking. In all honesty, I was just kind of like, all right, this is a big blockbuster. This is a film that everyone's going to be talking about. We cover pop culture. I have to see it. So, but I walked away from both experiences pleasantly surprised, and from what the conversations I've been having on social media as we've been pushing this review has been that the book in a lot of ways, or the movie in a lot of ways, deviates a lot from the book. So I kind of want to read the book now to experience a little bit more of this. No, but I at the same time, I kind of don't want this theatrical experience ruined for me should I hate the book.
Well, for so many years, I've seen people, and a good friend of mine, she always did, especially with the Harry Potter books. She always pointed out the differences between the book and the movie. But in this situation, and there will be spoiler alerts, we're telling you right now, there will be spoilers here. So if you don't want to listen to the spoilers, I will put in the description where you can pick up when we start doing the rest of the show. That way we won't talk about the movie and the book. But the movie had the elements of the book, and Anthony, I think, can comment on this because he's in that world. They changed enough of it, not because they wanted to, but more because they had to fit it in for a 2.5-hour movie. But I still don't think it deviated from the nature of what the book intended and how the book laid out.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the essence of the book is there. I think the general storyline from the book is there. They didn't go away from those at all. And I believe Ernest Cline, who was the author of the book, did have some oversight.
He screenwrote it.
He co-wrote it.
Yeah, he co-wrote it. He was definitely involved in what the changes were going to be made. The real pieces that were changed were more of the specific elements. And when I say the specific elements, we're talking about the games that they actually wind up playing, the challenges that they go through, like those type of moments were changed to fit for the film, as opposed to what was in the book. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I thought it was actually a really, really smart play on Spielberg, on Klein, on everybody involved in producing this film. I actually thought it was actually really smart of them to change up those specific elements, because they made them more, I think, relatable to a general audience by making them more well-known moments and events in pop culture.
Yeah, no, exactly. The general audience, obviously for the movie theater, you're going to need the general audience. And like I mentioned before, the book, if you played out everything in the book, it would be television series. But for a movie, to condense what you need to condense, I think they, like I said, they hit it on all cylinders. And first of all, let's talk about this. The number of pop culture references. It had to have been a major undertaking for Spielberg, even though most of it was his, to get all of these franchises in this movie. Now, be honest, how often were you catching yourself actually losing track of the movie, trying to look at the background to see like maybe what you can point out or find as far as Easter eggs? Because every time there was a group scene, I'm looking for all the characters.
Honestly, I didn't find myself doing it that much.
Okay.
I felt like, I would be like, oh, there's so-and-so, or there's, so-and-so. I will say when it comes to pop culture, best cameo that was introduced was Chucky. Best.
Yes. No, I agree with that. Chucky was awesome.
Chucky was
and the reaction to him too was, oh no, not Chucky.
Going through the movie, and like I said, all joking aside, how this is the first time I was able to watch a movie going, is this part of the book? Like, I'm trying to remember the book and parts of it. Like going through it, like, did you find it? Because I find myself every once in a while almost sitting there comparing. Was it better in the book? Was it better in the movie? Especially like the whole second when he goes for the copper, the jade key. In the book was completely different.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. Well, all of them were pretty much completely different.
No, but like the first. I mean, yeah, you had the race, which was more in the book. Was more just finding the worlds and everything, right?
Well, no. Yeah, well, you had to find the worlds, and then you had to find the puzzles that you needed to do.
Right,
so
yeah.
So in the I'm trying to remember in the book, the first key, you had to get through. Well, first off, in the book, you had to get the keys and then find the gate. It wasn't just
that's right. That's what it was.
Yeah. It wasn't just you got the key and the gate opened up in front of you. You actually had to complete two different things in order to complete that challenge. Obviously for the movie's sake, they simplified that into ultimately three challenges instead of six.
One gate. Yeah, then one gate.
Right.
At the end.
Exactly. So and to their credit, it's like if they wanted to, they could have done what other film franchises do and split it into two movies so you can do all of it, but instead they decided to encapsulate it into one, which, by the way, thank you very much for not double dipping into our pockets as consumers. I appreciate that because so many films choose to do just that and torture us.
Well, Spielberg went on. Spielberg said this was his toughest movie he's ever made since Saving Private Ryan. So I don't think he'd want to do a second one.
I wouldn't say that yet. I read an article. I want to say it was either Comic Book Resources or comicbook.com that actually they penned that there's already at least Ernest Cline has already started work on a screenplay sequel.
No, that's fine for a sequel.
I heard he was working on a sequel to the books.
He's doing both.
He's doing both, yeah.
But I think I think what Anthony was talking about was like Ready Player One Part 1, Ready Player One Part 2, like where it's the same story, kind of like the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, they didn't take the novel and split it in half.
Yeah.
Into two movies. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's definitely writing the book, and the sequel absolutely will go definitely with it. The video game feel. This movie was more, honestly, to me, was more of an animated movie than live action. I was not expecting as much in the Oasis as they showed. I thought it would be like a good mix between the two, but to me, it felt more like an animated movie.
Josh?
I was going to say, to me, just to kind of on that, I would say that as I was watching it, it felt like that this could ultimately be this generation's Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay, I can see that.
The mixture of the two, just everything, the pop culture. You've seen characters that we haven't seen together before, not just from, one area of pop culture, but from every area of pop culture.
I didn't even think of it in that. When you said Roger Rabbit, I was just thinking the animation versus mixed with real life, like in the whole second key scene with The Shining, and at the end, with Halliday.
Well, what I was going to say was my train of thought literally left me as I was about to say it. So,
okay.
So I'm done. It's over.
What with the movie, now let's look at it as a movie. Compared to what's out there today.
Dolphins.
Green. I was going to say Green Panther, Black Panther. That'd be an interesting take.
Do black and pink make green?
That's just some weird Power Ranger offshoot. Black Panther. Even I'm talking about like these big, series movies. Even going back to December with Last Jedi. How was it as a movie? Did you like it?
That's my cue. As a movie, I thought it was actually a pretty good, fun action adventure fantasy film. And when I say it that way, it's interesting because you're going to hear us review Tomb Raider on Josh's show, Victim and Villains, this week as well. This movie met my expectations because of the book, but also like it met my expectations the way that I was expecting Tomb Raider to. In a way, like for me, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be action oriented. There's a lot of fantasy involved. I felt like this film really hit that, whereas Tomb Raider kind of faltered a little bit for me on that front. I think they had good story beats. They had a very the plot was very. I don't want to say paint by numbers, but in other words, it's like. Once you knew the stakes of the film, you knew exactly what they needed to do to get to the end. You know what I mean? You had key 1, key 2, key 3. You win the Oasis. So it was a very that's when I say like when I'm saying it's like paint by numbers. It's a very paint by numbers story in terms of that respect. What was going on in the real world in conjunction with the Oasis was also very it was like a very standard. Action-oriented film. You've got the kids, you've got the good guys, and then you've got the bad guy. And the idea is you're both in a race. The good guys have to beat the bad guys. So just very standard film. And I felt like they just hit all the marks that you're supposed to in a film. So all in all, like I thought that they were very successful with that.
Josh?
I would agree. For that. For about 90% of that, I felt like there was a little bit of the story that I could have done without, that just kind of felt, I don't want to say overwhelming, but really kind of the best way that I described it would be, have either of you guys seen The Room or The Disaster Artist?
No, I want to, though. I've been wanting to.
I haven't seen either of those yet.
Okay, so there's there's a storyline in there that just kind of gets mentioned where like a mom's talking to her daughter and she's like, I have breast cancer. It doesn't come up at all in like the rest of the film. And in the disaster artist, they touch on it and say that it's supposed to be a twist. I felt like there was a storyline like that in this film where they introduced it, but it didn't. It ultimately just kind of fell at the wayside. Like it didn't really go anywhere with it. And I felt like I could have done without IOI as like the villain aspect. Like I feel like if they would have just been a company, I appreciate them more because I felt like the muscle that Nolan had kind of didn't really need to have that. He was a good villain all by himself without the muscle or without the henchmen.
I think IOI. I mean, IOI is big in the book, so you had to have IOI in the game in the movie, and with the way that the story is presented, the creator of the Oasis, or one of the creators, dies, Halliday, and he leaves his fortune of $500 billion to find an Easter egg in this game that is online, like almost like World of Warcraft or Second Life, where you play online and like the world plays it. And it's been 5 years since he's died, and people trying to find the keys to find the Easter egg. So you would think this giant conglomerate, IOI, would hire all these, these grunts to just play the game and try and find it. So I think that was good for the overall aspect. When it comes down to like a one-on-one battle, if you will, then that's where you get like the character of IROC, who I thought was very funny because I think he's hysterical. And the final part when you finally get down to Parzival and him playing the game, trying to beat Adventure. Well, not beat Adventure, but lose basically in Adventure to win the overall Oasis. So I thought IOI did what it needed to do.
IOI, and just for clarification, when I'm talking about IOI, I'm talking that as their function as this big conglomerate, I feel like it succeeded in that. But when there are elements of IOI that are acting as Nolan's henchmen, that's the part that I felt like could have been done without, because here you have the most powerful man in the whole world. Obviously, yes, he's going to be a villain. Like, just let him be this bad, evil guy all by himself without having to add in the extra hired muscle and the female counterpart.
I was going to say, here's the thing, though. IOI is not the most... it's not like it's the biggest, most influential corporation in the world. It's just a corporation that he's running. Okay. So that's one thing. His goal is to become the biggest corporation in the world and the biggest guy in the world by controlling the Oasis. Because in his mind, because of the way everybody basically lives in the Oasis, because the world has gone, to crap, is the person who controls the Oasis essentially controls the world. So his play at world domination is to get the Oasis. But IOI, because think about it this way, I mean, it would be a logic flaw if he already kind of had control over the world with his corporation. There's no reason to get the Oasis then.
Right.
So I thought, and to have that aspect of it's really one versus all. It was, I mean, you have the group of Parzival, Artemis, H, and then I keep forgetting, Sho and Dido. They end up grouping together, but it's really still kind of one versus all. Because during the race, every time they'd start the race, the first round was the race to get to the finish line, and you're always blocked by King Kong, which I loved seeing King Kong. I think it would have been cool if they went 33 King Kong, but I'm fine with the late 70s Kong, or even it looked like the newer one. But for 5 years, no one's won a simple race. But the race was pretty much Artemis in the DeLorean, H in Bigfoot, which I love seeing Bigfoot. I haven't seen him in a long time.
No, Parzival was in the DeLorean.
Yeah, what'd I say? Artemis?
You said Artemis.
I'm sorry. Parzival in the DeLorean. Artemis was on the Akira bike.
Yes.
And then you had H, that was in
Bigfoot.
And then everybody else was IOI. So that's kind of like where the race was. And then seeking out, when they're finding the clues and everything, My one complaint of the movie, I felt like it went too fast.
Wow.
Really? I did not feel like that. I felt like the pacing for it was perfect, and I would even say like almost flawless. Like I felt like it progressed in a way that it didn't feel like it ever dragged or ever took too long, or didn't drag, or it didn't go too fast. Like I felt like it was that nice progression slowly.
Mm-hmm. Normally when I see a film and I feel like it's gone too fast, it's because it's missing an element. And Larry, I can understand why you may have felt it went too fast. And this is probably the one thing my one criticism of the film. I didn't feel like it went too fast. I thought the pacing was fine. But I felt when you were in the real world, there was a lack of, I guess, human connection between the characters, and I think that's maybe why you felt the film went so fast. They didn't take a lot of opportunities to slow down and let characters have their moments. So when you were with Wade Watts in real life, when you were with Artemis in real life, whose name I can't remember right now, Samantha. When you were with Samantha in real life, like I felt like you got the motivation for why they're doing what they're doing, right? You know why they're there, but you don't like. I felt like you could have spent a little bit more time building their relationships in the real world, or giving us a little bit more of that connection so that we felt more for them. The stakes to me throughout the whole film were just these kids have to beat an evil corporation before they take over the world. I wanted to get a little bit more personal with each one of them, despite the eventual, like the one or two sentences where it's like, you killed my aunt, you killed my dad,
Yeah.
To give you that motivation.
That's my
same thing with the villain. Just really quickly, same thing with the villain. When we got Sorrento, I love the fact that they show that Sorrento was basically an intern for Holiday and Morrow, but that was all we got. He was an intern with them who basically lied his way to the top of this company, and you really didn't get much more than that. Like I would have loved to have seen them develop him a little bit more to just show how much that affected him. Like the fact that he was just seen as a know-nothing intern, and how he managed to weasel his way to the top, big corporation.
And to go back, like even with what Josh was saying, like kind of like just have the big bad guy. I think Sorrento, the way he was presented in my eyes, is that he was not big and bad. He was a corporate entity, but he wasn't a grab you by the throat kind of guy. I think he needed all those henchmen. He needed his female, what's her, Fatale, or right? I think her name was Fatale. Finale. Excuse me, Finale, which I think is a great name.
Finale.
She's the one that kind of had the cojones to go out and do stuff. Because when she presented to give him a gun, he's like, "No thanks." Until the end. And then even at the end, spoiler alert, which you already knew about. Even at the end, when he's there. And this is my other criticism. And when I say criticism, it doesn't take away from the movie. It's me for the first time going, I would have preferred this from the book in the movie, but I know they can't do it. More real-world interaction. In the book, Wade is like, he's getting tracked by 101. I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a few years. He actually ends up stuck working at 101. I don't think, not as much as Samantha does in the movie. It's him. And a lot more, like he had to go to internet cafes to play the Oasis. That's all in the book. But I get why they couldn't do it in the movie. But the end when Sorrento opens the door to the truck and he's got the gun on Wade, he could have shot him. But it's not even like a moment where like someone tried to stop him. It was like more on his own. Like he just saw, he's got the Easter egg. Unless he realizes, well, game over. There's nothing I can do about it now. Where if he was like a big bad villain, I think he would have just opened the door and just shot blindly.
That's fair. But I still think that he was a decent villain.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I enjoyed him as a villain. I can never remember the guy's last name, but the actor who plays Sorrento has been in
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, he was in Dark Knight Rises. He was also in Rogue One, and I like him as a villain. I thought that he was he was a good, villain to have. And I liked how this, and as I was sitting here, as we're watching all of this world envelop, you're seeing like, oh, there's an 80s reference, or there's a 90s reference, or there's, Overwatch or Halo. You're watching all of these pop culture references, and, it's funny to think about how blockbusters have developed since the heydays, because it's no longer about star power. It's no longer about, who can draw at the box office. It's about the talent in these things, because a lot of these actors might not, have name recognition as big as, Tom Cruise or Matt Damon or Ben Affleck, but this cast is still super talented in what they do.
Absolutely. No, the cast itself was, I think they nailed it with the cast. So where was the girl who played Samantha Cook? Where was she from? Because I loved her.
Bates Motel.
Oh, okay. Well, show I don't watch. Okay. Now, with this movie, like the book, tons, and Josh, you just mentioned, tons of pop culture reference, which really happened for me at the end. My head was going back and forth during that last battle, trying to pick everything out. That's where we saw the Chucky, the Chucky bomb, if you want to call it. And what's funny, just kind of bring it back, and it kind of, if you want to compare it to
Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, Wreck-It Ralph, but I was going to say with this part more with Guardians 2. Remember Guardians 2? Who were the gold? The gold people in Guardians 2?
The Sovereign.
Sovereign, okay. Yeah. So remember they all were in the ships, but they were local, so they were in their own little pods, and every time a ship blew up, the pod would go dark. That's what happened at IOI. Everyone's playing in a pod. When their avatar dies, it goes red, and then they all have to switch around. And it's great because whenever in that final battle with the epic proportion, you would just see clans and rows of IOI being taken out, and they go to the real world, and you just see red, the colors of the lights, just go, showing all these avatars dying.
Respawn.
Yeah, exactly. And with Chucky, that's what I was going to get at. Chucky was the funniest, because he's bouncing around, and you're just seeing pods light red and people freaking out.
It's effing Chucky.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that part was great.
So
I love that part.
There was some parts in it, like I saw some Hello Kitty. I thought it was really funny, like a clan of Hello Kitty. But during that, especially during that final battle, I popped when I saw Mechagodzilla. I was like, when it was forming, and he was in the book. When it was forming, it took me a moment I forgot it was Mecha. So I'm like, oh, Godzilla, that's right, he's in the finale. And then when it was Mecha, I was like, no, because Mechagodzilla is besides Godzilla, Mechagodzilla is my favorite. And I was all in at that point. What were some of your favorite references during this movie, especially during that final battle? Just some fun stuff that caught your eye.
I will say that I enjoyed the cameos in this that I wasn't expecting. Like I previously mentioned, when you're talking about pop culture, I enjoyed the aspect of, the fact that you got to experience a live-in version of The Shining. I wasn't expecting that. I enjoyed the seeing elements of anime and video games and horror. Like I loved how all of these, because it made the Oasis feel real, is that, you have all of these elements of pop culture that are unifying together. And that's what I'm going to say. Like, I think Gundam was probably the one that I was like, what? Like, it was the one that kind of took me off most guard outside of Chucky. Chucky was just the best.
Chucky was awesome. And Gundam, we got, I think, just more out of probably rights, because in the book, that was Ultraman.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not. Yeah, they did not use Ultraman, as far as I can tell in the film.
Yeah. And
my moments have to be. Let's see. Yes, as a big horror film fan, Chucky was awesome. But also the very quick cameos of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees were very nice.
Yep.
I enjoyed seeing them. Video game wise, it was great seeing. Goro, which was cool.
That's right, Goro. Oh, and then with the alien.
With the Goro moment with the alien chestburster was a nice touch. Let's see, what else did I really enjoy? Y'all, from the Street Fighter franchise, we got to see Ryu and Chun-Li, which was cool.
Where was Chun-Li? I saw Ryu.
Standing right next to him.
Oh, I missed Chun-Li. All right.
Yeah. So Ryu and Chun-Li were there. We also got a nice Hadouken in the film.
Yep.
Which was a nice touch. Let's see. Oh, I don't pop really in movies anymore. It's hard for me to pop, but I just laughed out loud when I saw the Madball.
Yes.
Madballs?
Yes, that's right.
The mummy Madball bomb
Yep.
was hysterical. Like, I don't know. I just saw that and I'm like, who the hell knows this besides me?
I think no.
That was just great.
I was at the I think I said out loud, that's a Madball.
Yep. That part was just awesome.
Hold on.
I couldn't
Josh,
stop laughing.
do you know what Madballs are?
I do not.
Oh,
yeah.
Oof. And that hurts. It was just my birthday. Oh, God. Madballs were what, late 80s? Mid-80s?
Mid-80s.
Mid-80s. They were just balls. They were almost like Garbage Pail Kids, but they were just balls. Like, they were like horror.
Balls, yeah, they were all like horror-themed balls.
Oh,
you had a mummy, and you had like all these weird monsters. And they also...
I do know what you're talking about.
And
now.
I remember when I was a kid, I would go to the video store and rent the cartoon all the time.
Yes. That cartoon rocked. See,
Yeah,
this is a movie, like Ant said, Chun-Li was in. I'm like, where was Chun-Li? This is a movie that has replay value. Just like a good video game, this movie had replay value.
Right.
And I just want to say before I forget, I loved the aspect of the coins because that really made it a game. Like, even when you're watching the movie and you start to, if you get thrown into it, now you're just thinking, oh, it's just an anime movie when they're in the Oasis. But when they got the coins, that's what brings it back going, oh, this is a video game that they're playing.
Yeah, exactly, because they needed to earn virtual currency so they can buy stuff.
Yep.
But at the same time, I mean, it's kind of playing off society's idea of the Bitcoin because you earn virtual currency in the Oasis, but you can buy things in real life from there.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
that's how Wade buys his X1 suit that
how he
shows
gets
up
coins.
in his house. Yes. So it's really it's really interesting how they're talking about this, and Klein is commenting on this because it looks like we're starting to head that way in society with the rise of Bitcoin and all these other virtual currencies. Now, it's really, really young at this point. It's very unstable. If you follow Bitcoin on the stock market, you'll understand that. But the way that this book and film reference that, it's quite possible that this is going to be where we are in 10 or 20 years time. So
I believe that.
For me, I have no problem playing video games for money.
It's better than other things I have to do for money. So Ready Player One, go check it out if you haven't yet, and read the book. Josh, honestly, read the book because it's different enough from the movie, not to the point where you're going to go, oh, why are they so different? But it's just it's like a good director's cut, kind of the movie. And, well, I guess the movie's more of a director's cut of the book. But anyway, go check it out. Let us know what you thought of Ready Player One. Post it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. And we're going to be back very shortly for something that Josh is going to put us through the paces for. And me and Ant are very, very worried.
All right, Larry and Josh, I might add. This week, we are going to talk about a canceled retro game, which has definitely been one of my favorite mini segments.
Okay.
And in honor of Ready Player One's release this weekend, I'm actually going to reference something that that was referenced in the film.
Cool.
If you were paying attention to Ready Player One, they mention a game on the Atari 2600 called Sword Quest.
Yes, Sword Quest.
For those of you who don't know what Sword Quest is, Sword Quest was it was not only a game that was set up for the Atari 2600, but it was actually a contest that was going to span over 4 different games. It was going to go over Earth World, Fire World, Water World, and Air World. And the person who completed each game won a $25,000 prize in the shape of different objects. So in other words, Earth World, you won the Talisman of Penultimate Truth, which was a $25,000 talisman, and Fire World had one, Water World had one. However, the 4th game in the franchise was supposed to be Air World. Unfortunately, by the time they were getting to the point of by the time they got to the 3rd game, which was Water World, Atari was bleeding money because the video game crash was nigh. As a result of this, they never actually got around to releasing the fourth game in the contest, which was Airworld. The game was never released. However, there were 2 prototypes that were rumored to exist. I don't know if anybody has seen these or not, but this game was going to be the fourth game in the contest, where the winner was going to receive a Philosopher's Stone, which was a large piece of white jade encased in an 18-karat gold box encrusted with diamonds, emeralds, citrines, and rubies. And like the other prizes from the other 3 games, was going to be worth $25,000. Now, basically, after the fourth game was supposed to come out, after Airworld was supposed to come out, there was supposed to be an ultimate contest between the 4 winners of these games, and then the ultimate winner would get the Sword of Ultimate Sorcery, which was valued at $50,000. Unfortunately, that never happened because Atari, like I said, Atari was losing a lot of money from the video game crash. We never got Airworld as a release, so it never actually came to pass. But for those of you who have never played the Sword Quest series, you can own copies of Earthworld, Fireworld, and Waterworld, but Airworld is still, to this day, not available for play, and that is this week's canceled retro game.
All right, so since we're talking all things Ready Player One, and Ready Player One is chopped full with so many different areas of pop culture, so many different Easter eggs, I want to challenge you guys to a game. And the name of this game is, what you're going to do is going to be first to 7, all right?
Okay.
Oh, boy.
First to 7, you have to name pop culture references, but you can't say the same as the other person.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like it.
Pop culture references, what, from the movie?
From the movie.
From the movie.
So
that you spotted.
Don't say anything. So don't say anything yet, Ant. Keep going.
We'll go around it. We'll go around in a circle.
Okay.
I'll start with Anthony. We'll go Larry and myself. Okay.
Who's keeping track of these?
Josh is keeping track.
Right
okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, let's first one that wins gets bragging rights.
Okay. Here we go. Ready? Ant, you're up.
Oh, I'm player 1. That's right. All right. I'll go with the obvious. I'll go with Chucky.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Mechagodzilla.
All right, and I am gonna go with Sonic.
Very nice. I will go with Freddy Krueger.
I'm going to go with Halo.
Okay. It's my turn. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, and the newer ones too.
Yeah, I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a clock on these things if we can't come up with one?
Yeah, how many seconds?
I'm going to go with Jason Voorhees.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you run time, I'll just start counting you down if I feel like you're going too long.
Okay, I'm going to go Back to the Future.
Michael Jackson.
Rubik's Cube. Or the Zemeckis Cube.
Say anything.
That was a good one. Overwatch.
All right, what are we up to? What number is this?
5.
Okay.
Breakfast Club.
Batman.
Yeah. Harley Quinn.
Hello Kitty.
We want to go for 10.
We may have to, even though it's getting a little tough. All right, let's go for 10. We'll go for 10.
Okay.
King Kong.
Batgirl.
The Joker.
Enough DC.
Can't help it that they were in that.
I got you. Don't worry. I got you. Oh, my God. Iron Giant.
You stole my answer. Alien.
We should keep going until someone screws up.
Goro. I thought that's what we were doing.
We can do that. What'd you say?
Goro.
Goro from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and once a character's named, you can't say then like Mortal Kombat. So
right.
Atari.
Shining.
Sword Quest.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Wait.
5,
Oh!
4, 3,
Akira.
2.
Spawn.
Bigfoot.
Ah, damn it. Gundam.
Bond.
Chun-Li.
Bullet. One of the cars was from the movie Bullet.
That's not an answer, Josh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're done.
Oh!
Yeah. All right, so tapped out.
Do we keep going?
Keep going.
Yeah.
All right, Kit.
Ah, damn it.
Come on, Larry, you got this.
Oh, Space Invaders.
Adventure.
Didn't you already say Adventure?
Did we?
No.
Nope.
What Atari game did he say earlier?
I said Sword Quest.
Ooh.
Sword Quest, yeah.
All right. Trying to think of that stupid giant battle.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ah, damn.
Fine.
Woo.
I even kept my rare reference in my pocket for like the one. If I couldn't think of one, Serenity from Firefly was in the movie.
Was it?
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
Oh yeah, a few times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
All
awesome.
right. Good stuff. Good. That was a good one. I like that.
That's right. And much like our Virtual Boy shopping challenge, I am the victor.
Woo. Hey, if anyone realizes any other pop culture references, let us know. Josh, that was a good... the last couple of games Josh did with us was like ask 122 questions and see, and see which ones they are. And usually they're way obscure. No, Josh, this was a good one. I like this one, Josh. That was tough at the end.
Yeah, it really was. Did anybody mention Alien? That was another one I was holding on.
Oh, duh.
did, yeah.
Alien.
You did. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Now I'm just trying to think of other... I'm trying to think of all the avatars.
No, I mean, there were so many avatars in the game, and there were so many moments, or not even that, just like references in their conversations.
When he went on the date, what did he dress up as when he went on the date?
Oh, he dressed up as Buckaroo Banzai.
That's right, Buckaroo. That's what I was trying to figure out in my head. Honestly, I thought, for some reason, I thought it was Say Anything. Let me ask you a question. In the book, well, Josh hasn't read the book. I don't want to ruin anything for Josh. So, but maybe I'll ask Ant afterwards. Because I feel like in the second game, The Shining wasn't in the book. The second level was a different movie. It was a movie,
Yes.
but it was a different movie.
It probably didn't have the rights to it.
No,
Batman
probably.
89 is also in this as well.
No. In the when he had to get access to the first gate, he had to role play Matthew Broderick's character from War Games.
That's what I thought. That was the second key.
No, that was the first
I
key.
haven't read the book in a long time. I kind of forgot the order of stuff. Okay, I gotcha. All right, cool. But yeah, no, the Batman 66. I was trying to go back to the race. I'm like, there had to be other cars.
And the scene too, where they're in the museum, they bring down all those VHSs too. You can see Batman 89 is scrolling around and through it.
I didn't see, when I said Batman, it was it was Batman. You can climb Mount Everest with Batman, but also I think it was either Show or Dido had a Batman logo on their visor.
was actually Artemis.
Oh, was Artemis? I thought it was. Oh, okay.
Sho and Dido had the Mortal Kombat pin right here.
Yes. All right.
That is true.
It takes me like 2 or 3 watchings before I start remembering things truly. So, that was a good one. All right.
Cool. Yeah, no, that was a good one, Josh. And to be honest with you, like for all the pop culture references that we caught, there are probably that many more that we did not see.
The Rubik's Cube bomb I loved the Zemeckis bomb.
The Rubik's Cube bomb. The Rubik's Cube and the Mad Ball bomb. Those were great. Those were just awesome. But yeah, there are so many moments in there that are worth going back. Like when I watched the movie just to see the movie itself, right? I wasn't the references are there, obviously. Like, I'll go back and watch it a second time now, specifically to look around and see all the other pop culture references that I missed. And there will be a second viewing. There's no question about that.
Oh, same here.
You know, and the thing also, like I mentioned earlier in the show, real quick, how this is the first time I'm watching a movie based on the book I read. I caught myself this time. I honestly almost got too enthralled in trying to figure out what was in the book versus the movie. I'm hoping at some point, if that stops, because I got to stop comparing the two because they're both great on their own.
Well, and that's what a lot of people do. It's a natural tendency to compare a film to its book.
Yeah.
As somebody who has seen many films that are based off of books, because I'm a big Stephen King reader, and they make every Stephen King book into a movie. You just have a natural tendency to do that. I have learned over time that you have to separate them out to some degree, because you're never going to be able to capture everything in a book in a film. It's just impossible. Mm-hmm. So you just have to go into the film knowing that they're taking the source material and making a film based on it, and hopefully it's true to the source material in terms of the overall story and feel and emotion and all that stuff. It's like it can't be a paint by numbers copy of the book, because if that's the case, just read the book, or don't read the book and just watch the movie.
Yeah.
Very true. Sure. Very true. All right, cool. So, great game played here on the Retro Gamers. And, Josh, as always, you deliver when you're on the show.
Yay.
All right, Ant. So what do we got this week for a cheat of the week? We're talking a lot of gaming stuff, so...
Yeah, well, we're talking a lot of gaming references thanks to Ready Player One's release this weekend. So I thought I would stick to Ready Player One for this week's cheat of the week. And it's not necessarily a cheat per se, but since the movie hinges on finding the inevitable Easter egg inside the Oasis, I thought we would go back and tell everybody how to get the very first Easter egg in video games.
We will... Like such a pivotal... I feel like that was a pivotal point in the movie.
It could be, and anybody who goes to watch it will find out. So we are going to focus on this week's Cheat of the Week on the game Adventure for the Atari 2600.
Nice.
And the very first Easter egg, which was to view the credits of the game, which were basically the people who created it. Because back then, there were no credits in video games. You just played the video game, and the game ended. That was it. Congratulations. So if you wanted to get, however, the creator of the original Adventure game, whose name is escaping me now because I'm trying to explain the game, Warren Robinett is his name. He wanted to get credit for the game that he made, so he created a hidden screen in Adventure that had his name on it. In order to unlock this very first Easter egg, on game 2 or 3, go to the maze in the Black Castle. There's a bit of an explanation in this. Go to the maze in the Black Castle. One screen left of the first maze screen will flicker if you carry an object in there, meaning one thing. There's another object in there. That's how you knew there was something else in there. At the bottom center of this screen is a closed-off cubicle. Use the bridge to get in there, and you should pick up a dot. Literally, it's just a tiny dot. If you carry this dot to the screen just above the catacombs, and be careful not to lose it, as it's the same color as the outside of the ground, so don't drop the dot into the wall. Drop it there and bring 2 other items onto the screen, then run through the line on the right side of the screen and witness the first ever Easter egg. That sounds really involved and very confusing, but if you ever played Adventure, you'd understand it, because the game is, again, it's Atari 2600, so it's a 4-bit game. It has it's all about arrows and dots and very minimalistic screens. So if you follow those instructions, you too can find the world's first Easter egg in video game history, and that is this week's Cheat of the Week.
All right, we are going to bring this show to the close. We are reaching the checkered flag. We're right there at the end of the level. The big boss is about to come down on us. Here comes the timer. It's about to reach 0. Anything?
Wow. Did you write that down?
No. Unlike another host on another show on this network, I do everything off the top of my head.
Well, I have a quick question for you guys before we wrap it up.
Yes.
Just a little prediction. Since Ready Player One made an estimated $12 million on Thursday alone.
Wow.
What is your opening weekend prediction?
$12 million. It's an Easter weekend. Plus, it opened Wednesday, so I'm gonna go with.
I think the Wednesday tally was added into Thursday.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Carry the 1.
I'm gonna go between 55 and 60.
Square root. I'm gonna go a little higher, Alex, and I'm gonna say about 75 to 80.
Okay, and I was actually going to say somewhere around 70. So,
wow, all right. So we're in the ballpark.
So, well, we're in the ballpark of each other.
Yeah,
we're in the ballpark of what it's going to make. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually does more than that, because of what Josh said. It's a holiday weekend, and I also so people are off. I think some people have spring break next week also, so they can go on Sunday night, not worry about school the next day. So. I think there's a potential for it to break all of our numbers, but I'm going to stick with 70.
What was this rated? PG or PG-13?
PG-13.
PG-13.
Was it PG-13? Okay.
Well, still, that's not going to stop. Do you think this is? I think you're going to see more. I think now that it's out and the word's going to get out, I think that number is going to help with people bringing their kids, because you can kind of get away. I mean, depending what kind of parent you are, I would bring a kid to this movie.
Plus, kids love video games.
Exactly.
In fact, my sister even texted me after I saw it and said, "Can I bring my kids?" And her kids are 11 and 7. So, and I told her I think it's fine for that age. Even if it is PG-13.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Cool.
And here we go. And speaking of, I just looked this up now.
His insider numbers.
The Friday estimates are in for Ready Player One, and for Friday alone, it pulled in 15.2.
Yeah. So it's now got a grand total of 27.2.
Right, but Thursday won't count into the 3-day weekend that I'm talking about. I'm talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We gave our numbers. We'll see what happens.
So, Ant, let me ask you this: seeing how you're in the center of everything Hollyweird, is there buzz out there? Like, do you hear anything like at work and stuff? Just like people talking about this movie, kind of like how Hollywood's reacting to it.
No, it's actually been kind of quiet on this one, and it's not to say that means that's a bad omen. It's just that the circles that I'm in are not close to this one. That's
okay.
All. The closest I can say that I am to this is that Lionsgate. It's not Lionsgate. I'm sorry, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is not that far away from Universal. Steven Spielberg works right on the next street on the Universal lot to me. But that's about as close as I get.
Okay, fair enough. No problem.
And he didn't come out and tell me anything about the movie. So
not this time.
So I'm in the dark. No, I know. Steve and I mean, we go to Coffee Bean every other day. It's fantastic. Oh God, I hope it's not listening.
That place with the epic cake slices.
No. That's Aroma.
Oh, okay. I love that.
No. Coffee Bean is a coffee shop.
I'm aware of that.
Well, no, I don't know if you're aware.
Interested.
No. Steven doesn't eat cake.
Oh, cool. All right, good. So, everyone, check out Ready Player One. Josh, thank you very much again for joining us here. We have an epic crossover. Tune in
always
to Victims and Villains, where we're over there talking about Tomb Raider, the movie. Well, they are. I kind of, sort of. And I think I got Josh in trouble. And, check it out. Check out the podcast. Check out Victims and Villains, the PS Midnight Cast. Oh, that's right. Let me give a little plug on my end and with Josh's kind of network there. myself and Brandon did a little kind of little mini crossover, or at least I'm going to steal Brandon away from Josh's network to bring him over here to more of the same when it comes to wrestling podcasts. And me and Brandon talked about the road to WrestleCon and the road to More Than Mania, which is the big independent scene happening in New Orleans during WrestleMania weekend. You can find that at my page on Facebook. PS Midnightcast shared it, and it'll be on the More of the Same network page as well. Josh, what do you got happening?
Let me be completely honest.
Yes.
I don't believe in networks. So we are a universe because the universe is
No, don't say that. Don't say that, because then he's going to call it the More of the Same universe.
No. We are everything is interconnected in our shares, okay? You can't have that. You've already marketed LLC, More of the Same network.
I did.
So
I'm stuck.
Ours is the victim's verse.
Okay, I apologize. Which reminds me, I gotta get more stuff going on that thing. So, maybe I should not. Anyway, so Josh, with the villain verse or victim verse or whatever you call it, victim verse. I already forgot.
There you go.
I'll edit that out. What do you got happening? Where can people find you? Where can people find your shows? And what do you always have happening?
So essentially, you guys can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vero, and YouTube, as well as iTunes. And if you guys just happen to be listening to this right now, and you or someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, or self-harm, or depression, you guys can reach out to us on any of those platforms. Call the Suicide Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Also text anonymously to 741-741. And if you wonder why I gave that, our show is the marriage between pop culture and suicide prevention. So everything we release, whether it's Victims and Villains, YouTube's, anything, is all about promoting hope and getting you the help that you need it. Awesome. Good stuff. And, I may have to. I ordered so many pop vinyls this past week. It's
if those are video game characters, do those count for the shopping?
Yes.
Thank you.
That is
that is an 8-bit Jason Voorhees. That is based off of video game characters. Therefore, it counts towards your purchase.
Also, I don't know about you guys, but after I left Ready Player One, I'm like, I want to live in the Oasis. So,
judging by your apartment, I think you are.
So immediately went and got.
Oh no!
PlayStation VR.
Oh man, and Skyrim. Now that's going to be a great game to VR.
It's the Skyrim bundle. I was like, as soon as I left the theater, I went right to GameStop because it was in a.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's still in the box though, so I'm still contemplating.
There's a big sale going on at GameStop this weekend?
Yeah, I missed it.
Don't tell him that. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Wait. What do you mean you missed it?
No, that was like a couple weeks ago. It was like $200 for the VR headset, but that was for the VR headset only.
No. GameStop is having a sale this weekend right now at up to 50% off games. I'm going there today.
Oh, that. Okay. Well, I don't think this was part of it because I just bought it yesterday. So.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I've been tempted.
One day too late.
I've been tempted about the PlayStation VR.
And you don't have to be 180 degrees all the time. They said if you have a game and you got to turn around in the game, you hit a button. You don't have to physically turn around.
Oh, good, because that's the part that I don't want to play in a VR. I don't want to stand in my living room and walk around like a fool.
Like the people in Ready Player One?
Well, but they have an omni treadmill. That's awesome. Omnidirectional treadmill, which to be honest with you, sounds really cool.
Also pick this up.
Nice.
Ooh,
because,
very nice.
Myself,
we need to explain it. It's a Skeletor pop vinyl. People can't see our podcast.
Well, I was waiting for one of you to say it.
Look, it's Skeletor.
Oh, look, it's Battle Armor Skeletor.
Yes,
the pop vinyl.
You have to be more specific. Battle Armor, because I'm gonna go meet Mr. Oppenheimer, who played Skeletor in the cartoons. I'm gonna meet him at Chiller Theater at the end of April. So I wanted to get a Skeletor pop, but all they have is Battle Armor Skeletor because regular Skeletor is $300.
Dang!
Wow, you should have bought that instead of the PlayStation VR.
And it wasn't in the store I went to. Along with now I have all 4 8-bit Ninja Turtles.
Those are 8-bit based off of the 8-bit video game era and therefore count as video game
purchases.
Those
do not. I got new Rick and Morty.
Josh,
all right,
ruling.
We're gonna wrap this all.
Need a ruling on that.
I'm ending the show. I'm ending the show this week. That's it, folks. Thank you for joining the show, and we'll catch you next week. We may actually have a special guest again right here on the Retro Gamers.